Poster presentations are something that many of us have experienced. They're a popular way to present scientific information at events, conferences, fairs and so on, particularly in the medical profession. However, putting together a poster for print can be a costly and nerve-wracking experience for students, involving much grappling with complicated desktop publishing applications, quotes from printers, transport logistics, conversations about paper thickness and worries about the adhesive strength of Velcro. So while it can be a valuable experience, it's not something that we would want to do regularly during a course, especially courses involving blended or hybrid modes of study. But the idea of poster presentations can be taken online, giving us a chance to turn it into a constructive learning experience with many additional benefits, but without the inconvenience. A perfect way to introduce students to poster presentations and allow them to practice, but without the additional stresses of producing a physical poster. Now, for many of us, Microsoft Whiteboard might be something we've only ever seen as a tool in Microsoft Teams, one with minimal real-world value. But Whiteboard can be accessed as a standalone application in the Office menu or downloaded as an independent application on Windows and Macs. And Whiteboard is a laudably simple platform, one that doesn't overwhelm students. It's easy to learn, and yet can still generate unique and interesting presentations. First, let's open Whiteboard. We'll be using the online version for this demonstration. When we first create a new whiteboard, we're presented with various different templates that we can use. Most of these focus on project management activities, and they can be very useful. But they don't particularly suit the purpose of creating a poster presentation, so we can close this window. Here we see our canvas, a big blank space. We have a simple toolbar at the bottom of the window and a cog setting icon, and we have some other settings, including options for changing the canvas background. Now we can change the canvas background at any time, but for right now I'm going to change this straight away into this hybrid graph paper background. This is so that we can see some clear rules and guidelines that we can use for layout. Now, a blank page is always a scary place to start, so to make life easier, we're going to begin by using a template. Now, this template itself is for PowerPoint, but we can just copy it and paste it. Now, you can see here in the bottom corner there are options for zooming in and out of the canvas, and another button here that will put everything on your canvas in the center of the screen. It's much easier though to use the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom in or out, or to use the pinch motion on a tablet or laptop. You can move around the canvas by waiting until the cursor changes into a hand, and then dragging the canvas around. Now, to recreate this template, we can begin by adding the text in the corner. To do this, click on the text icon and then click where you want the text to appear. As you can see in the toolbar, there are very few formatting options, keeping everything nice and simple. I can change the text colour, choose between just 3 different font types, and add bold, italic or underline. I'll make this bold. I can move this text anywhere I like, resize the text box by dragging the edges, or resize the text itself by dragging the corners. To add a line, I can go to the Shapes tool. Again, a minimal selection of tools makes it easy for me to see what I need. I'll click on the line, and using the grid to guide me, drag across roughly where I want it to be. And I'll change the colour to something closer to the template. To create these text boxes, again I'll go to the shapes and this time I'll add a square. Drag it to roughly the size I want. And I have some options here. I'll change the colour, and here you'll notice that, oddly enough, there isn't a white option. The white option simply shows as transparent. So I'll stick with this pale grey colour. I can change the colour of the border as well, and this can help me define boxes a little more clearly. They're currently black, which seems a little harsh to me, so I'll change it to a more subtle grey. I'll duplicate this square and make a new square for the other text boxes. Now, to add the different kinds of text inside the boxes, I'm going to click on the text option again. Type the text, change the colour, resize, and position it. Handily, it snaps quite easily into the corner. Again, I'll duplicate this text and use the duplicates to create the other headings. When it comes to writing the text inside the boxes, again I'll create and size the first box. I'm just adding some placeholder text here so that I can change it later on. And then duplicate these boxes and resize them into the other spaces. There are some graphic elements in the template, this heart image, a quote mark, and down here some images for contact information. If I select the 3 dots on the toolbar, I can see some other things that I can add to the page, and one of these is images. Here I can upload an image or use the Bing Creative Commons image search. Now, searching for images is not always as simple as it sounds. For example, I can search for images of a human heart and add it to my canvas, but it has this big white border around it and I don't really want that. Now, this is because of differences in types of file format. What we want is an image where the background is transparent. And there's really only one kind of image that will do that for us, and it's called PNG. If I adapt my search for human heart PNG and choose one of these options, notice that the background is now transparent and I can place it over the text box without obscuring it. I'll do the same with the other images, looking each time for something roughly equivalent to the template. Now, this doesn't need to be an exact science, and of course you can make any changes you want according to your needs. So now we have a nice outline of our poster presentation. I don't really need the grid anymore, so I'm going to go back to a blank canvas. And I'm going to change the background to white, just to make it stand out a little more. Now we can start to look at ways to make this poster presentation richer and more varied using some of the Whiteboard tools. For example, if I click on the 3 dots in the toolbar, I can choose to upload pages from documents directly into the presentation. This makes it much easier to include charts or data from published materials. Now, while this may appear too small if the presentation were being made in an actual printed poster, one of the benefits of presenting online is that both presenters and viewers can easily zoom in to see more detail. Again, clicking on the 3 dots, I can add online video. For example, if you want to include a video introducing yourself to your audience, or a video demonstrating your work. Not only can we add media, but we can also add interactive elements using loop components. For example, you can get audience participation by adding a voting table. You can label columns, add or delete them, create a number of choices, and resize the element to fit. And any viewers looking at your poster presentation can click what they want to vote for. There are a number of ways in which you can present your poster. At any point, you can share your poster with others by clicking on the Share button. You can add the names of people or groups that you want to share the poster with. And by clicking on the eye icon, you can decide whether those people will be able to just view your poster or will be able to add comments and make changes. Alternatively, you can click on the cog icon next to the link button. Here you can create a link that will work for anybody inside the university. Again, choose whether people will be able to make changes to the presentation or just view it. Click on the Apply button, and now you can copy the link and send it to whoever needs to have access to the presentation. When you're finished and no longer want to share your presentation, click on the people who have access and select Stop Sharing. When meeting inside Microsoft Teams, click on the Share button and select Microsoft Whiteboard. Teams will open up your Whiteboard homepage, from which you can select your poster. It is important to note that by default, sharing your poster within a meeting means that everyone else in the meeting will be able to add comments and notes on the poster. Now, if you don't want this, go to the Settings and deselect Other participants can edit. If you're giving a timed presentation, then a handy feature is the timer that appears in the top right corner. Click on this, set the time for your presentation, and then click the play button. The timer will be visible in the top right corner during your presentation. A useful tool to help with the presentation can be found in the inking options in the toolbar. Selecting on the laser pointer will allow you to point to certain things during your presentation. You can also use the highlighter if you want, adjust the thickness, and highlight the parts of the message you're talking about. If you need to submit your poster as an online assignment, you can go to the Settings icon and select Export. You can download your poster as an image or as a zip file containing a static version of the whiteboard itself. Once downloaded, these can be easily uploaded into your online assignment.